Good morning, peoples. Yes, this is the day. I'm finally, I'm not going to say not busy because I actually have a shitload to do today, but it's still relatively early in the morning before 9 o'clock. So I'll get to work probably around 9:30 like I used to back in America, the good old days. And we're all out of bed at 8:30. So I was up at 6:30 today. Already made my positive action plan video. There's a playlist on this channel. Go check it out if you hadn't. It's just little excerpts from a book, How to Achieve Wealth, Health, and Success, which, as you know, the Great White Buddha, that's this guy, is all about wealth, health, and success. I'm trying, at least. I'm not giving up, not quitting, working, grinding, just like a lot of the rest of you. So, America, apostrophe M-U-R-I-C-A, America. Good, bad, was the greatest country in the world for most of my life. Not sure that's true anymore. And when I worked for the government, when I was actually paid by them, a lot of the times I was not in line with the philosophies or the opinions of the people who were my bosses and boss, right? In other words, I didn't care for the government at the time. But the reason I served, starting in 1984 when I joined the Navy, the reason I served was for the people, for you guys. And some of you I know, and some of you I don't, but I served for all of you. And you're like, well, dude, you don't even know me. What do you mean you served for me? I served for America, the people, and the idea, really. I remember, I was 21 when I started this shit, so like now, young people are big on ideas and thoughts. And communism is an idea. And if you read it, like if you read a book, it sounds great. Everybody's equal, nobody goes hungry, nobody doesn't have health care, everybody has the same opportunity. If you read about it, if somebody tells you about it, it actually sounds like a really good deal. It sounds fair, and it sounds equal. And at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants fair and equal. Except there's a percentage of the population, and I don't know what number to put on it. I honestly don't. First I would be thinking 20%, because the old 80-20 rule, that applies to so much stuff. So maybe 20% of the people, have 80% of the power, that type of thing. Pareto's law, Pareto's principle law. But that sounds like too much. I really don't think it's 20%. So if you add up the number of, you got the president and the vice president, you've got, some alleged, like it's their cabinet, rules in some sense or has influence, the joint chiefs of staff with the military, you've got Congress, you've got all the governors of the states. So if you add all that up and divide it by 330 million people in the U.S., what percentage is that? Less than 1, I would think, less than 1%. So I don't know. You want to err on the side of caution and say that the billionaire lobbyists influence our laws, through PACs and stuff like that, political action committees, lobbyists, bribers, extortionists, whatever. So let's say 3%. So 3% of the people who effectively make decisions for us and mandate us, wearing masks during COVID for our own safety, of course, because that 3% wants nothing but to protect you. I mean, isn't that what they've done since they've gotten in office, is vote to protect you? They ignore people coming up and giving them large envelopes of cash, or more likely money wired to an offshore account is the way it actually works. They ignore that because they're not human. They're not like you and I. They don't succumb to temptation, right? I was 300 pounds last year. Why? Because when I was tempted with barbecue or pizza or bacon, I went for it. See this right here? Bacon. Now, it sure as hell tasted good going down. That's why I did it, and did it again and again and again and again. But when I got to Thailand, I had more time to focus on my health, because you really do need to focus on your health if that's what's the most important to you. And I've been able to make some changes, and I've lost just about 30 pounds, 29 pounds. So I still have bacon, but a lot less often than I used to. Still have eggs maybe once a week as opposed to every single day like I used to. Drinking juices and eating yogurt and fruit. So the point is, I get the fact that we're all human and we're all open to temptation. So what makes people think that the 3%, the 5%, the ruling class, the people in charge, the people who pass the laws, the people who are supposed to represent you, what makes you think for 1 second they're not open to temptation too? Why? That makes no sense. Why would you expect your representatives to have more discipline and willpower than you? Sorry for making sense. Sorry, not sorry. So, therein lies the problem. The politicians are greedy and they're corrupt. And that's why communism and to a lesser extent socialism don't work. And if you don't believe they don't work, look around the world and see other places where they've tried it, and it doesn't work. It's a great idea, but when you put it into practical form and you make an entire country communist, it just doesn't work. And let me clarify that. It works for the people in charge. So I dated a woman for 5 years who lived in Russia, Soviet Union, Moscow. She lived in for, I want to say 30 years. When I met her, she was already in America for 8 years and had married an American and lived with him for 6-8 years, whatever. She'd been in the country almost 10 years by the time I met her, and we dated for 5 years. And, obviously, Soviet Union was a communist nation. And I went there. I actually went to Russia in 2010. And I saw the difference between what the people drove, which, like in Thailand, in Moscow, which is the wealthiest city in Russia, Soviet Union, there aren't that many cars, just like in Thailand. And the reason is your average guy on the street, your average Ivan, instead of your average Joe, right? G.I. Joe and Ivan, going back to the 80s. But your average person can't afford a vehicle. The ones who do work their ass off and a vehicle is important to them and they save up, get an East German piece of shit called a Lada. It's an absolute fucking rattle trap piece. It's like remember the Yugo that was in America for a while? They don't sell them anymore. My boss at AT&T when I was working in IT drove his less than a year old Yugo to work, and the back window just popped out. Just popped out. 1 year old. The freaking window just, piece of crap. Piece of crap. Ladas are absolute pieces of shit. You got to hit them with a hammer to get them started. Just crappy. And that's like for the few fortunate who have a car. Most, by and large, don't have a car at all. Can't afford it. No place to park it. In Moscow, the apartment buildings in Moscow are like the apartment buildings in New York and Chicago, just stacked high, 20 stories high, just packing people in like rats, as many people as they can get in. Once a year, they have to redo the piping in there. And this is Moscow. This is the crown jewel. If you go outside Moscow, you don't have indoor plumbing. They have outhouses, like in friggin' Arkansas and West Virginia. They got friggin' outhouses just outside of Moscow, like 30, 40 minutes. All right? But this is communism. This is the great idea. Everybody's equal. Meanwhile, the Politburo, right, the ruling class, that 3% I talked about, or 5%, whatever it is in Soviet Union, and this was during communist times. And this was before Putin and all that, Gorbachev and Glasnost, whatever the fuck they call it. So back in communist times, and nobody had a car, and when they did have a car, it was shitty. But the Politburo, the party members, the high-ranking Communist Party members, the people in charge, had really nice German automobiles, or Swedish, Volvos. They had these big, black, shiny, beautiful, well-running sedans and drivers. They were chauffeured back to and forth from work. And they didn't live in these stacked apartments that had to have the plumbing redone once a year. They lived in dachas. A dacha is a villa, really nice, big house on the outskirts of town, and yes, with indoor plumbing. They also had access to Western goods, right? Here in Pi, you can get a lot of Western goods, but it's only for those who have money. They cost a lot more. You want a bag of almonds, just a bag, like this size of almonds, you're going to pay 250 baht in Thai. 250 baht. That's like $8 for a fucking bag of almonds, right? Western stuff here in Thailand. And this is 2020. This isn't even in the 1980s when this girl, Alex, her name is, had to stand in line to get 1 liter, not a gallon, 1 liter of milk that she would share with her sister, who was pregnant at the time, her mother, and herself. She would stand in line to get a thing of milk. That's communism. That's the reality. And I said to her, but everybody's equal. That's the communist idea. If you read the books, it's there. Everybody's equal. And her answer, and I'll never forget it, it's stuck in this giant, big eggshell of mine, is some are more equal than others. That I wish I had Mike Smithgold skills and I could put, a floating thing across the bottom. Some are more equal than others. Right? So the way the U.S. is heading, if certain ruling class individuals, certain billionaires with lots of money get their way, what they're trying to do is turn the U.S. into a communist nation under the guise of socialism. It's not socialism, it's communism. And the reason they want to do that, if you're a computer game person, you'll remember one of the first kind of complicated games, like a little more sophisticated than just the shoot 'em up, right? Like Wolfenstein, where you just go and shoot Nazis or whatever. One of the most, like a thinking game that you could play for hours and hours and hours on the computer, and people did. The start of the Vidiot generation was a game called Civilization by Sid Meier. And after that, they made SimCity and Age of Empires or whatever you see now, ads on Facebook trying to get you to download and play so they can get all your information and your contacts and everything. But Civilization was cool, and I played it. I was hours and hours I put into that fucking game. But long story short, you got to choose your type of government as you got more advancements and learned science. You get a budget. Your people work fields and produce goods, and you get to allocate it like the king or emperor or whatever. So, cool game. Check it out if you never have. I think it's on like Generation 6 or something now. My buddy Daniel told me, because he's more up on the now than I am. But I played Civilization, which was the first iteration of it, in CivNet. And every time I played, after I learned, by playing a couple times, like being an American, you think, oh, you do a republic, right? That's what America is, and that's the best, right? No, because in the game, and that shows what a fucking genius Sid Meier was, when you had a republic, you had to keep your people happy. Now, how do you keep your people happy? Dancing with the Stars. and how they did that in the game was you would turn a worker, you take them out of the fields producing, chopping wood in a forest, are harvesting food for the country. You know, you can make them a farmer, you can make them a scientist to discover things faster, or you could make them a tax man to get your revenue up so you can buy things like faster production of goods. Or when you do the Republic, you would take one of your workers out of the field and make them an Elvis. Seriously, it was a little Elvis in a white jumpsuit. You know, Sid Meier had a sense of humor too. Or the developers who worked with him, you know, he might have just put his name to it. I don't know. I doubt one guy did that whole thing because it was amazing. But yeah, that was the deal: is to keep people happy in the cities. You could either put an Elvis in, or build temples, right? And a temple stood for church, synagogue, you know, Buddhist temple, whatever. It wasn't just one religion. It was, if you build a temple, people will be happy because they'll go to church and have faith and feel better. So I thought that was interesting. Elvis, right? TV, movies, sport, numb yourself by watching the boob tube. Or religion. If you find religion and you're comforted by that, that makes you more happy. Or, and here's where we get to 2020, you can build military units, but instead of sending them out to conquer other nations, which is one way to win that game, is to conquer all the other nations, you leave military in the city. So basically it's like the Insurrection Act, the National Guard, right? You build a military unit, instead of sending it, you just leave it in the city, and you basically over-defend the city. Because, you know, you always leave like 2 military units in the city to stop others from destroying you, right? And including barbarians, or even hordes of barbarians, Antifa, right? They'll just pop up and attack your city. So you always have to have guard units defending your city from other civilizations and from the bandits, the pirates, Antifa. So you leave more soldiers in the city, that makes people happy. You give them an Elvis entertainer, that makes them happy. You give them religious structures, that makes them happy. I was like, that's a lot of work. I got to build a military unit and leave it inside my city? Well, that's not efficient. So the most efficient form of government, and the one I chose after that to play the game, to win, and to win quickly, was communism. I picked communism because you didn't have that. You didn't have to keep the people as happy. Under communist rule, the people were not happy but wouldn't revolt. More importantly, they don't revolt. If a city revolts, it stops producing. So you lose the production, the food, and the city will starve to death. If it stops producing, it will starve to death, and eventually the city gets wiped out. So as a city manager, and you're managing 20, 25 cities as you build this thing up, you don't want it to revolt. Under communism, you've really got to make them, and there's got to be a lot of unhappy people. You have to have serious overcrowding for them to revolt. So you could just build military units and kill everybody else, and that's what I did. Yeah, hashtag don't judge me. So there's a lot to learn from that game. A lot of that applies to the real world. Like I said, in a lot of ways, Sid Meier's is a genius for the way he designed that game and the way to win it, And yeah, one time, just for shits and giggles, I built a rocket and went to the moon, I played Elon Musk from Tesla, and I settled. I put a colony on the moon, because that's another way to win that game. We're talking about the original civilization, the first one. Or maybe it was CivNet. But yeah, I did it that way too. But 99 times out of 100. Oh, hello.
Hello, video.
Sawadee.
Sawadee, video.
Ciao. 99 times out of 100, I played the game as a communist, and because it was quicker, it was faster. I could do chariots for my favorite military unit because they were fast. They could move 2 spaces instead of 1, and they had tremendous power, wampum power. They could attack cities, and I would just do horde after horde after horde of chariots, and just like Risk, if you ever played the game Risk, I'd just send masses of armies out from my bases. And the whole reason I built new cities was to get chariots built faster, closer to my new enemies, and just cover a lot of territory. So, once again, from a video game, there's a lot you can learn. How do we solve it? Well, I saw a an undercover video, which I talked about, I think, briefly before on this channel, from some chick named Millennial Millie. And I had no idea who she is. I never subscribed to her channel. I guess she's like a right-wing chick. But she somehow was able to get a friend to pretend to be a socialist, a leftist, even though she's right-wing. She got one of her right-wing or independent friends to go undercover. Ooh, spy music. Where's Mike when you need him? I want like do like music of doom there or something. But seriously, this person, woman, man, I don't know. Obviously, she didn't give her source up. I assume they're still in the organization. Inside, and I don't remember the name of it. You'll have to watch the video. Just do undercover investigation. Minneapolis was planned, or Millennial Millie, and search for Minneapolis undercover investigation on YouTube. I think it's still up. I don't think it's been taken down. And you see the footage. Once again, the problem is, geez, everybody wants to tell you how to think, right? Everybody wants you to do it their way and see things their way and vote their way and all that. And they just don't do what the job is of the news. And if you're a social influencer on YouTube or Facebook, your job is just present information and let people make up their own mind, right? But that's not what's happening. Everybody's trying to convince you, see it my way, do this my way. But this Millennial Millie just showed you the tape. She gave you the tape of recorded Zoom sessions where these leftists got together and were planning, the riots and stuff. And it's very interesting because one of our Congress people, women, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, is on the Zoom session talking to this, admittedly leftist group. And yeah, okay, she's on the left, but these guys are far left. They're looting and rioting. That's not your average Democrat. You know what I mean? There are moderate Democrats too, and there's a bunch of people in the middle, independent moderates who are not Republican or Democratic. And here's an elected member of Congress on a Zoom session with, radicals. But you see it for yourself. I don't want you to take my word for it like hearsay. Watch the damn video and look and see her with your own friggin' two eyes and listen to what she says. And then at the end of that video, the other one too, the Arab lady, Imhamar Oman or something up in Minnesota, Michigan. She's also in that video. So, but at the end, one of the organizers of one of these organizations, a little blonde girl, says, "Yeah, I've been, I have stuff on Biden. I have skeletons. I can blackmail Biden with it. I can use against Biden, so we can make him do what we want. Like if Biden gets elected, we're in. We this radical left group have control of the White House because he doesn't want what we know about him, out in the public, so he'll do what we tell him to do." And they're talking about getting AOC on the cabinet, on Biden's cabinet. And once again, to the American public, if you're an independent like I am, you're like, okay, who the fuck is AOC? Like, she was a bartender in New York, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. Now she's a congresswoman, one term, freshman congresswoman, and now she's on the cabinet? Right? You go but after that thought hit my head, for a minute, 30 seconds, I'd get back to working on the new menu for the restaurant or, checking our bookings online or, I'd get back to work. Or you get back to watching TV, because that's more important. You wouldn't do anything about it. If AOC was on Biden's cabinet, you wouldn't give a second thought about it. But just, back up for a second. This is pre-election and say, How the hell is she qualified when she was a bartender 3 years ago? And yeah, okay, if you're a lefty, you're screaming at the screen right now, Trump was an actor and a... Got it. But, I mean, a first-year freshman senator, I mean, a congresswoman, she's just now learning the ropes of Congress, which is how to make money, because she lives in a luxury apartment now. Remember the stories when she first came to Washington, how she couldn't afford an apartment? Well, now she's in a luxury apartment. Nothing to see here. Move along. Nothing, just you. Don't worry about it. Don't wonder how that happened, right? So now she's learning the ropes, right? And now she's going to be on the cabinet. And if it happens, if Biden gets elected and she's on the cabinet, have you looked into the new Green Deal? You know, do you know what she's proposing? People have been laughing at her and making fun of her and putting memes in on how stupid she is. I got news for you guys. She didn't look stupid in that video. I think she's been playing us. You know, playing the dumb brown, because she's not blonde. She's playing the dumb blonde even though she's got brown hair or black hair. I think it's an act, because she seemed very well-spoken in the video. Not at all like the public, you know, we got to eliminate cow farts and all this other crazy shit. But if you look at her agenda, the new Green Deal, that's some crazy shit, and that's what she wants for America. And by voting for Biden, you're putting him in there. Okay, so half of you, according to statistics, half of you who voted just wanted to fucking put an arrow through my head because I said don't vote for Biden. And that means vote blue and win by any means necessary and all that bullshit, right? Because orange man bad. Got it. Did he say I can grab women by the pussy? Yeah, he did. Is that fucking gross and disgusting and misogynistic? Yes, it is. Absolutely. No argument for me. But you just said don't vote for Biden. I didn't say vote for Trump. See, there you go, fucking assuming again. That's why you're a fucking idiot. Yeah, I just called you an idiot. Because if you can only see it as one side, you're for Biden or you're for Trump, you're small-minded. You're exactly what you accuse people of being. You want to call everybody a racist. You want to call everybody irresponsible for not wearing a mask. You want to judge your fucking self. Fuck you. Fuck you. I mean, seriously. What the Good thing I'm in Thailand. Mango. Picture myself swinging in a hammock right now. But seriously, dude, there's so many fucking people who want to tell you what to do, want to tell me what to do. Fuck you. Fuck you. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not God, as best as you want to fucking act like it. No, you don't get to tell anybody what to do. You're responsible for yourself and your family, and that's it. That's where it stops. You're not the president of the United States, so you don't need to tell everybody what they need to do. You need to wear a mask. You don't need to. Fuck you. Fuck you. You do you. You make the decision that's right for you, and shut the fuck up and stop telling other people what to do. You don't have that right. In fact, that's what makes America great, is that you don't have the right to tell other people what to do. Period. Now, some motherfucker pulls a gun and shoots you, they need to die. They fucked up. This is different. This is different. You're talking about voting, and you're talking about wearing a mask. Totally different from fucking shooting somebody. And if you don't believe that study, you all worship and bow at the altar of Fauci and the WHO and CDC, right? Because they're right. They have no agenda. They're not susceptible to funding like the politicians we talked about before. The WHO doesn't rely on funding from Bill Gates. No. The WHO is here for us. The WHO cares about us. Okay, you keep believing that. That's fine. I choose not to believe it based on facts that I've researched and read. You can do the same. Or not. It's up to you. So the WHO and the CDC, well, you bow at the altar of. They're the all-knowing, all-doing, authority on this stuff. Put the death toll of the United States at 77 the other day. 77. Now, if you know one of those 77 people, you're screaming. You're not happy. You're freaking out. Oh my God, My grandpa died, and that sucks. Yeah, I'd hate that. Both my grandparents are dead already, but I'd hate to lose them to COVID or having COVID when they died of other causes, which is happening right now. So, this hysteria, this, if you don't wear a mask, I'm going to report you. That happened in Germany in the 30s, guys. Look it up. Read your friggin' history. Are you really want to be that one to turn a Jew in to the SS? Oh, he's not wearing a mask. Just worry about yourself. Worry about yourself. You do you. You want to wear a mask? God bless you. Get a pretty mask. Get one with patterns and look swanky and whatever the fuck you want to do. You do you. It's cool. But when you pick up the phone and say, oh, there's a guy who owns a bar in Jacksonville, Whiskey Jack's, very popular bar before Corona. He's getting repeated police visits because people are saying there's too people in this place. He's not. He got 20 people in this huge fucking place. But, you know, people like you are calling the cops. But wait a minute, I thought we wanted to defund the police. Cut back on the police. The police are too aggressive. The police are racist. But who do you call to think on that guy he has too many people, even though he doesn't have too many people, which is important, right? That's number one. You're wrong. Number two, you're going to call the people you want to take money away from to go do your bidding. Fucking hypocrite. Look in the mirror. Look in the goddamn mirror. What the fuck? Just watch your TV. Just watch CNN. Go just sit and watch your entertainment. Watch your Dancing with the Stars. America's Got Talent. Loud mufflers. Just why you need to call the popo, who you hate and are racist, to go try to shut a guy down who's trying to do business. He's working while you're sitting at home calling the police who you hate. Now you know why I moved, guys. No, straight up. I am so happy to be in another country because the U.S. is filled with people like that who call the cops on a bar owner claiming there's too many people in this establishment. The guy's just trying to pay his rent. He's just trying to survive. And he had 21 people. And if you've ever been into Whiskey Jack's in Jacksonville, it's huge. It's a big, it holds like 500 people. There's 21 people there, and some Karen, there you go, we got a name for him now. Some Karen is calling the cops, who I guarantee you, if you look at Karen's posts on Facebook, she's defund the police and Black Lives Matter, which are anti-police, right? They're all caught up in the cause, all fired up. Karen's sure she's not a racist, so she's going to support BLM, right? All right, this channel, Great White Buddha. I'm a racist. I just identified as a white person. That makes me a racist. No. I'm white. Yeah, I'm Tanner since I've been here, but I'm white. So Great White Buddha describes me. Now, does that mean I hate black people? Fuck no. Who says you have to hate black people if you're white? Where's that written? Oh, the news. But fuck the news. We all know they're bullshit. So just because I say I'm the Great White Buddha does not make me racist. Some people will call me racist because of the name. That's where we're at right now, right? Some people look at that name and go, oh, why does he have to say he's white? Why can't he just be the Great Buddha? Well, there's another Buddha that the people around here respect a lot, and I wouldn't disrespect them by calling myself his name. That's why I'm the Great White Buddha, because I'm not him. Get it? I mean, Jesus, people. Unbelievable. I mean, it's, I'm white. Deal with it. It's not a statement. You don't know me. You don't know how I think. You don't know how I feel. Because I'm white. White's got nothing to do with my brain. As far as I know, all our brains are the same color. So why you want to assign a bunch of attributes to me because the term white describes me. I'm Irish too. What do you want to say about Irish people? I mean, lump people into groups much, do you? Isn't that what you're fighting against? Supposedly, allegedly? Isn't that why Orange Man is so bad? I keep hearing Orange Man's a racist, right? but you've got a problem with the word white in my little tag here. Sorry to Bono. He's a left-wing hero, and one of his songs on Rattle and Hum, one of the best albums ever made. U2 Double Live, Rattle and Hum. Bono says, "Am I bugging you? I don't mean to bug you. Yeah, I don't mean to bug you either, but I will call you out on your bullshit. Somebody's got to. Jesus Christ." I think the problem is a lack of parenting, Like, just, I saw a video, quick video today of some punk, young, white, if that matters, get on a bus and start whacking an older, heavy-set bus driver. And I don't know why. I don't know what the motivation was. There's no backstory. It's just this young kid gets on and starts fucking hauling off. He's angry, he's pissed. He lost at Xbox. I don't know. I don't know what the motivation was. But he just starts wailing on the freaking bus driver. Just thought it'd be cool, And the bus driver, I guess, had some experience or training, military, some cop, boxer, I don't know. But he took a couple of punches and he didn't, the big thing with the punks is you got knocked the fuck out. You got knocked. Every time I see that, I want to knock them the fuck out, but that's just me. Or put a bullet in their head better, because they're broken machines. They can't blend into society. They're not going to have jobs. They're not going to be leaders. They're fucking broken machines. I vote for eliminating them, but that's me. Maybe I'm a little extreme in my old age. Get off my lawn. But anyway, the driver took the shots, because that you win fights not by punching but by taking shots. If somebody can hit you and you're just like, fuck you, pussy, now it's my turn, here we go. And that's what he did. And of course the faggot, the little pussy, the little punk ass motherfucker, Antifa guy, the minute he got hit, because he's not a real man, not used to being hit. He's cool when he's throwing the punches, but as soon as he gets hit, oh no, it's over. It's over, Irene. So this guy, this driver, God bless him. He's a hero. He's a hero because he taught this punk a lesson. You can't just go around throwing hands. You're angry. Your mama didn't raise you right. She didn't wipe your ass. She didn't give you peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I'm sorry, but you don't go around hitting people. You don't go laying hands on people, because they just might lay hands on you. And this guy did, and it was awesome. That was one of those videos I could hit replay and watch over and over and over again. It makes me feel really good. Call me fucked up. Okay, sure, I'm fucked up. But that feels good. Because somebody, maybe his parents, didn't teach that kid that it's not okay to lay hands on somebody. And if you do, well, they just might lay hands on you. And he learned that lesson in that film. He learned that lesson that day. If his parents couldn't teach him, this bus driver sure did. My problem is, what if it was a friggin' 60-year-old dude, thin, frail? Not every bus driver had the capability that this guy did. This guy was strong, stocky, had some form of training. I could tell by the way he was hitting and he took the punches and he threw the punches. He destroyed this kid. So what if it's just like a regular dude? Then the kid gets away with it. He hauls off and hits this guy and then sneaks off the bus like the little sneak coward bullshit bully that he is. But this bully got his comeuppance. He got what was coming to him. He learned a lesson. I'd be interested to know why he did it. I'd be interested to know what he's doing now, like if that changed him at all. I would hope he has enough brains to never do that again, because that might happen again. I hope he learned his lesson from that episode. But who knows? But that's America today, man. Jump on a bus, punch the driver. Yeah, that's cool. Life's nothing but a video game, right? There's no responsibility. You don't need respect for other people. Fuck all that. Yeah. America. That's why, they are probably no longer the greatest country in the world. And that makes me sad. That makes me really sad. I've never been a fan of the government, but I've always been a fan of the people. And, the country is acting crazy. If I had to do it over again today, if I had to make a commitment to serve my country like I did, and the country was acting the way they are today, taking over cities for fucking autonomous zones and looting and rioting because they're unhappy and, this, that, the other thing, I don't think I would serve. And that makes me really sad. But I'll be honest, it's a fact. I'm kind of just sitting back, waiting for the election, see what happens, and we'll go from there. So getting back, before I went on my little rant about Biden versus Trump, it can be more than a two-party system, guys. Juice, the magic elixir of life. Drink juice and all our problems will be solved. Give the punk who hit the bus driver juice and everything will be okay. So here's where I see a lot of hypocrisy on the left. I feel like their party has been taken over by these extremes. Like I said, watch the Millennial Millie thing and you'll believe what I believe if you've got two eyes and you keep them open and listen. So their party's been taken over. So in 2016, the big movement was, let's break the glass ceiling. Let's elect a woman president. Now, unfortunately for the Democratic Party, Hillary Clinton, being an ex-First Lady, an ex-Secretary of State, and she a senator of New York? I think she was a senator, state senator of New York. So being a political animal, she had a lot of favors owed her, whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of theories about she's a killer, but throw all that shit out because there's no proof, right? So let's just say she's politically connected, very well connected. So the DNC, i.e. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, her friend, put her in over Bernie, even though arguably, it's so funny because talk about hypocrisy. Every Democrat you meet will tell you that Hillary beat Trump in the populist vote. They want to get rid of the Electoral College because she won the populist vote because more people live in California and New York than live, in Iowa or Rhode Island, right? So they're very quick to point out Hillary beat Trump on the popular vote, but they're very slow to acknowledge that Bernie Sanders actually had more support in the Democratic Party than Hillary. But Hillary had the power, the elite that we were talking about in the beginning of the video. She had the 1%, or the 5 people who run the DNC. She had them all in her pocket, so she got the nomination. And that's very unfortunate for the Democrats because Trump is such a polarizing figure. Everything that the Democrats say about him is true, about being a womanizer and a misogynist and all that. I mean, all those quotes, the grab her by the pussy, all that. Any other woman in America, I think, would have beaten him in 2016, just not Hillary. Because the same thing that got her the DNC nomination, which is her hookups and her political favors, also made half the country hate her. More people voted against Hillary than for Trump inside, that 64 million or whatever it was that he got in votes. Hell, I'd say over 30 million were anti-Hillary votes. So any other candidate would have beaten Trump. So the DNC fucked up, but hey, they did a favor for their girl, and politics is all about making money and doing favors, right? That's more important than winning the election. So that was the focus. Break the glass ceiling. We have enough of old white men, right? We had Obama in, and he was a black president. Now we want a female president. Style over substance. It's huge. It's everything. So here we are in 2020, and Trump is still Trump. He hasn't changed one bit. So how are you going to beat him? Well, get a qualified female and do the glass ceiling again. Because I honestly believe, and you should too if you're a Democrat, any qualified woman would beat Trump. Simply because people want Trump out. More people hate, as many people hated Trump as hated Hillary, and that's why it was basically a tie, very close to a tie. So here's the thing: those sneaky little libertarians, and I wouldn't know this. I would not know this woman's name if it wasn't for the fact that I have a friend in Jacksonville who's a libertarian delegate. He's not just libertarian, but he's into, like, very active in libertarian politics in Jacksonville, Florida. So there's a woman, a qualified woman, smart woman, well-spoken woman. She doesn't have dementia. She doesn't sniff people's hair. She's not groping 12-year-olds' chest, on C-SPAN, for everybody to watch. She doesn't tell black people if they don't vote for her, they're not black. She's not, in other words, a fucking train wreck like Biden is. And she's not Trump. She's not on Twitter every 5 minutes saying, I'm the best president ever. I'm the best nominee ever. The libertarians nominated me because I'm the best libertarian. That she's better than both of them, hands down, easily. And I haven't studied her, but just looking at the two choices, shit and shit, she's not shit. She's a thoughtful, well-spoken human being. So here's what makes the Dems so fucking hypocritical. They've got a chance, because Jo Jorgensen is her name. That's the candidate for the Libertarians. She's going to get some of those 100 million votes, right? So something. I don't know, less than 5%, right? So 5 million votes, 10 million votes, something like that. Maybe 15 million votes. But less than 5% of the people who vote. Because, win at all cost, riding with Biden, true blue, act blue, the money you put into BLM goes to act blue, so if you vote for Trump, you're a racist. I mean, crazy shit. But all those people are just like, I'm a Democrat. My daddy voted Democrat. My grandpapa voted. Okay, you be you. And if you feel that party affiliation is more important than voting for a qualified candidate, whatever, I'm not going to stop you. But it does show the hypocrisy, because here is a female, a woman, which is very important to you guys. It was in 2016, like the Me Too movement was important back in 2016. But now that Tara Reid came out against Biden, well, that's sweep that under the rug. No hypocrisy there. So here's Jo Jorgensen, and if 50 million of the 67 million that voted for Hillary voted for Jo, plus she gets the independents, plus she would take a hunk from Trump, because remember, a lot of the Trump voters only voted against Hillary. So Jo Jorgensen doesn't have Hillary's long trail of, she doesn't have the skeletons in the closet like any career politician does. Biden, Hillary, Schumer, Pelosi, and the Democrat, McConnell, I guess, is it, the Republicans too. Yeah, any guy who's been in office 20, 30, 40 years has got shit in his closet. That's how they stay here. That's how they stay in power. They're in power to make money and do favors for people. Bottom line, both sides of the aisle. Both sides of the aisle. So Jorgensen doesn't have that. So here's a qualified female that would be better than Trump, and the Dems won't bite. They're going to put an old white guy in office after all that fucking noise they made in 2016 about breaking the glass ceiling. I guess they no longer want to break that ceiling now that the party has told them to vote for an old white guy with dementia. Can't really speak a complete sentence, in my opinion. If you watch him, even with a prompter, he has trouble. If he was an athlete, it's time to hang up the spikes. He's done. And they're running him for president. Seriously. If I was a Democrat, if I was registered and I voted Democrat every year, I would be outraged. I would be so pissed off. And I would continually say up the ladder through the Democratic Party, is this the best you've got? Is this really what I'm supposed to support, because I don't believe in this guy. And not for nothing, but the Republicans. Jeb Bush is running now. Okay, so the third Bush, because we all need more Bush. So, Jeb's running. I haven't seen anybody else go up against Trump. So why, if Trump is such an evil motherfucker, why isn't the Republican Party putting up a better choice? Why are Republicans stuck with Trump and Democrats stuck with Biden? Right? So, good question. I want to see more parties. I want to see more diverse voting. I want more choices for the American people. Yes, I don't vote, but I don't want to see my country go down the tubes, and right now it's going down the tubes. So I firmly believe that a vote for Biden is a vote for communism. He's weak. He's got a lot of skeletons that could be used against him, and I don't want puppeteers in control. Is Donnie bought and paid for? Maybe. I don't know. Show it to me. Prove it to me. Put a link in to something that definitively proves he's taken money from, the Rothschilds, etc. I've seen the Milley video about Biden. Send me a link to a video about Trump being bought and paid for that has proof. Proof. I saw a live video of the left talking to AOC and talking about their plan to get her on the cabinet, the extreme left, take over the White House. So show me the same thing with Trump, and I'll come back on and do a second video. That's it for today, guys.